Now we get to one of the most difficult verses to translate in all of 1 John, and it all has to do with the aspect of the present tense. Remember, the present tense can be anything from almost punctiliar to completely and totally imperfective. And so you have to look at how the present tense is being used, and then you're going to have to decide theologically how you want to translate this verse. Pas ha gegenemenas ek tu theou hamartion upoie hati sperma autou en auto mene kai u dunatai hamartanen hati ek tu theou gegenetai. So you start with this indefinite construction. Perfect, right? Everyone who has been born from God, sin not does not sin. Now remember, present tense, right? So everyone who has been born from God does not sin. We'll come back to it, obviously, because his seed, meaning God's, remains in him, and the him is this person. And John now even says it stronger, not able to sin. Why? Because he has been born, perfect passive, right? From God. Okay, how on earth are we going to translate these present tense verbs? So if we just say sins, it opens the possibility of misunderstanding this as teaching perfectionism. And so almost everyone wants to stay away from that because it's obviously not what John is teaching. I said, makes a practice of sinning. NASB, no one who has been born of God practices sin. CSB does not sin. They just leave it. ESV makes a practice of sinning. NRSV, they do not sin. NIV, no one who is born of God will continue to sin. The Net Bible, everyone who has been fathered by God does not practice sin. And the NLT, those who have been born into God's family do not make a practice of sinning. However you go with your translation, there's going to be challenges, but that's the issue. And that is, how do you want to understand the aspect of poie and the remaining and not being able? It's an interesting challenge, but the Greek allows a wide range of translation, and then your theology and exegesis are going to kick in. The phrasing is actually very straightforward. You have this subject, everyone has been born of God, and that's the subject of poie, isn't it? So probably we're going to have to put a break in here. Subordinate clause, because the seed remains in him, punctuation, and he is not able to sin. New clause. So your main sentence is everyone has been born of God, does not sin. So I should say, there's your subject and verb. And the reason that is true is the hati clause. So we'll put it down under there. And then to really drive the point home, it's not that he just does not sin, but that he's not able to sin. In fact, if you wanted to be a little more explicit, you might want to do something like this, which then parallels does not sin with is not able to sin. And then you have the final reason given why he's not able to sin was because he has been born of God. So have fun with this one in class.